Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on Build by BIPOC Collective Conversations. Today, we're going to talk about busy versus productive and how we can focus on income generating activities that actually drive the needle. So thank you all so much for joining today. All right. Well, before we get started, just a few administrative things. If you're new to LinkedIn audio, I like to use this LinkedIn feature to have a conversation with you all, to really share and gather collective wisdom. And so I'll be kicking things off with a mini lesson today. This really is meant to be an interactive space and a collaborative space. So please note also that this conversation is being recorded, and replays will be available on the Conscious Exchange YouTube channel. So glad to have you here. Just be aware of that. To participate, because I know some folks are newer to using this tool, to participate, all you got to do is, if you want to join me in the conversation, just raise your hand and I can invite you up to the stage to speak. Also, please just be mindful of the time that you're using, like allow people to also share their wisdom. So just giving people a chance to talk. Also, as you're sharing your advice and such, just please be mindful and share from your own experience. As coaches and consultants, we're definitely folks who want to be able to share advice often. Just please ask permission before you're giving out that information and advice. Also, one big thing for me is I believe in deeper conversations lead to deeper connections. And so this is not a place for you to pitch slap people. This is an opportunity for you to make new friends, connect with folks you find interesting, and 100%, if you find anyone like really interesting from this conversation, please feel free to connect afterwards. I don't gatekeep, so I share a lot of what I'm working on behind the scenes, how to set things up, for example. So if you're just curious of how like any of this kind of stuff works, please just send me a DM if you'd like to know more about how to go live and such. All right, so on today's Built by BIPOC Collective Conversations, we're talking about income generating activities. So a little bit about myself. So why am I talking about this? My name's Carissa Begonia. I am a business coach for BIPOC entrepreneurs, a LinkedIn sales and marketing expert, and top voice. I'm a second generation Filipino-American daughter of immigrants and the first and only in my family to start my own business. I really believe, like I said earlier, that deeper conversations lead to deeper connections. And at Conscious Exchange, we're really creating this ecosystem and this movement where BIPOC entrepreneurs can really exchange ideas, words, energy, services, to be able to really achieve that time and financial and work freedom that we really want for ourselves, our communities, and our families. So in this series, Collective Conversations, we're here as a group to share stories, connect through common experiences, and glean from all the lessons we have learned along the way. So my networking philosophy is that deeper conversations lead to deeper connections. And then when you really lead with being relational over transactional, that's where all the business magic happens. So this isn't just about sharing my wisdom. This is also about sharing collective wisdom. And I would love for you all to just join me on the stage when you have something to contribute or a question to ask. So all you got to do again is just raise your hand and I'll bring you up on the stage to speak. All right, so let's get into it. Busy versus productive, how to focus on income generating activities. So BIPOC entrepreneurs come to me when they're want to learn how to use LinkedIn to generate more leads and ultimately more sales in their business. So when I ask them about their sales process, I either get this like blank stare of, or this just long list of marketing activities, such as like creating posts or creating videos, going live, etc. And while all this is really important for visibility, this is also staying busy in all of that work is why sometimes we can feel like we're just running around doing all the things, right? Being super busy, but not necessarily seeing the ROI. So busy can give us this false sense of accomplishment. And, the other negative impact of that is that it can become this we can kind of have this feeling of not being good at something, or not being a good coach, not being a good consultant, not being a good business owner. Maybe this isn't working, LinkedIn isn't working, right? So really want to make sure that we're focusing on sales activities rather than marketing activities and being more productive rather than busy. So kind of to clarify some things, so let's start with the difference between, what is a sales activity and what is a marketing activity. So sales activities are the things that you should be prioritizing, right? These are the tasks that are directly related to bringing in income. So this could look like client outreach, sales calls, closing on sales calls, making sure you're tracking your sales metrics, how many leads you have brought in, how many outreaches have you done, how much inbound like leads are coming in, how many calls are you taking, how many are you closing. This also could look like networking, whether that's online, like an event like this, like LinkedIn Audio or LinkedIn Live, or also out, in-person networking with potential clients and partners. So those are really the priority, the sales activities that you want to make sure that you're working on every single day. Marketing activities or operations activities even include things like social media content creation, which again helps with a lot of visibility, and it can lead to opportunities, but it doesn't directly bring in income. Okay. This could also look like if you have an email list, writing, your newsletter for your email list. On the operations side of things, it could also look like really developing and refining your product suite and services to make sure that they're aligned with what your customer needs. So those are just some of the more secondary, I'll say, activities that contribute, of course. This is an ecosystem, product marketing, sales, you'll hear me say all the time. All three of those things need to be activated for you to have a successful business. But oftentimes we are over-indexing and over-relying and on content creation, marketing activities, doing other busy work on the back end for our systems and processes, et cetera, working on the website, whatever, but we're not focusing and really prioritizing those income sales generating activities. Okay. Some common challenges of why this may come up or to prioritize, the more productive activities, sales activities are one, distractions, right? We're taking unnecessary meetings with team members, maybe unqualified leads, just having lunch at coffee dates, but not sales calls, excessive social media use, or just spending all this time either scrolling, but also content creation, and even networking in the wrong places. So sometimes I'll meet people, I'll talk to clients, potential clients, and they'll say, I'm out and networking in person and such, but didn't do the vetting earlier ahead of time to say, is this even worth my time to go to? So checking in with is this worth my time, right? Doing some of that research before you decide to just go to some event, even though it may sound good, it might be too general for you, say with just general business networking or general entrepreneurship networking. Do you think the right people are going to be there? Do you know your ideal client avatar, and would they go to that event as well? All right. Another distraction is, especially if you are working from home, right? Just having these other tasks, like life things to take care of. So, that kitchen sink needs some dishwashing. Maybe you want to take a little nap because that couch is calling your name. And it could be really easy to procrastinate when you have just kind of you're in an environment and, there's other things that could be done or potentially are more fun to do than something like sales activities, which some people might be nerve-wracking to kind of work on. So and we know, that's a whole procrastination thing. There's a whole mindset thing around that, but that's just definitely something that can come up in terms of challenges. Another challenge is perfectionism. So this, especially when I hear people tell me that, Chris, I'm spending like 3 hours in content creation for one post, and guilty. I was there too. I have done that before. But the overthinking, on what to post, how, ruminating on what you're writing, choosing the photo, shooting videos multiple times, right? And just kind of getting nervous about what to say, what to post, all those things, making sure it's saying the right thing because you're afraid you'll lose a sale, like all of those things. That perfectionism sometimes might be getting in the way of also you concentrating on what is most important, what is the most your income generating activities. All right, so now that we know our challenges, then what are the different ways that we can or tools that we can use to stay productive? So one of the first things I'll advise folks to do is set goals, right? Make sure that you have clear, measurable goals related to income generation. And this is where tracking, well, first of all, knowing your sales process, and then tracking your metrics. So how many clients do you need for this month? How much money or revenue do you want to bring in this month to make your year, say? Breaking that big goal that I want to make 6 figures, I want to make 100K for the end of the year into monthly goals and even weekly goals, just something larger into more manageable tasks will help you get to that, to like help you accomplish and get those income generating activities to the forefront. All right. Also, looking, sometimes I work with lots of multi-passionates, and so I know I love all of you. You want to do all the things, and I am happy to help you do all the things, just not all at the same time. So having a parking lot space, or wherever you're collecting your notes, maybe you're using a Miro board or some other type of white boarding type of technology, or even a physical one, or just a notebook. Having a parking lot so you can be able to put those ideas on paper, put it somewhere so you don't forget them, but you can also clear up your brain space for other things. All right. In terms of time management, so that's goal setting. Next is time management, right? Really take a look at your calendar. Do an audit of how much time are you how much time are you spending in different activities. I like to color code the different types of activities have, like between sales calls, client calls, team calls, for example, so I can really quickly see what is the majority of my time being spent. And when you can audit yourself, okay, maybe when I say I don't have enough time, how true is that? Do you actually have time, but is it being spent in kind of the wrong places? Meaning we're spending maybe too much time talking to our team, and we can make that process more efficient, right? So looking for those opportunities of reallocating again where you're spending your time. Create a dedicated workspace that can help you with time management, because with any interruptions that might come in from family members or whatnot, again, you're really comfortable couch that you might rather be sleeping on instead of doing some work. Just create a dedicated workspace that's set up like nicely, maybe has a plant or something, or your water and such, just so it sets you up for success and feels like a good environment for you to do even especially challenging tasks. And then also set dedicated time on your calendar, I would say, for that outreach, for LinkedIn outreach specifically, and not, to be clear, not LinkedIn content creation, right? Where it's not about the creation of that content, it's more about the conversations you're having. Like, what outreach are you doing? Are you having conversations in the DMs, et cetera? And again, making sure that you block that time so you can get that out of the way and make sure that you prioritize that. I like to do mine in the mornings because that's when I'm the most productive. That's when I have the most energy and I want to chit chat and interact with folks. So I make sure I block that time off every day during the week, Monday through Friday, or Monday through Thursday. I do more of a 4-day work week. So that I am interacting with folks and getting, again, the most important activity off my plate for the day. And then everything else I can handle. Which that means is because I'm blocking that time off, means I'm also blocking, giving the time in the afternoon to say, take my client calls or to take sales calls. So I know I like to block off what days of the week I am doing client work, team work, my own work, right? And sales work, and then also block it like by hourly or chunks of time, morning versus like afternoon, of when I want to do certain activities based on how my body naturally flows. All right. So other productivity tools look like things like ClickUp, as that's what I use for my project management tool. Some other similar tools are Asana, Trello, if you're a little bit more creative and like to see these boards. Those are really helpful for task management. Definitely have a CRM, a client like management tool, where you can, as you're talking to leads, you have somewhere to put them. That doesn't have to be something fancy like a HubSpot or a Pipedrive. It could be something as simple as an Excel document, right? But having that process and having that dedicated worksheet or CRM system will help you keep yourself organized and keep yourself productive. And then also, again, map out your sales process, right? A lot of folks don't even know how they go from, initial conversation, like initial phone call, to signing a contract and signing a contract and sending an invoice, right? So what are those steps? And making sure you have that process so that and mapping that out like on, again, a Miro board, a physical whiteboard, or even simply having a checklist in Google Docs will help. And then automation and delegation. So really once you kind of see what the process is, you'll be able to figure out what of these processes need to be automated. What are some of the tech tools that are out there that I can use to make my life easier, right? And free up the time for the higher impact, more impact, more income generating activities, right? Also, when you audit your time, you can see where you're getting stuck or spending too much time on something. Consider hiring a VA and outsourcing that work, finding an expert to be able to help with those tasks, and really take it off your plate, and all just so that you can keep all these non-essential tasks and delegate those to team members. All right. Just last note on this as we wrap it up, don't forget that this whole thing, entrepreneurship, is a journey. There's always room for improvement. So also in your process, take some time to maybe monthly to just review and reflect, right? Just regularly schedule these into your week or your work month, work quarter even, to review these activities and assess that their impact on your income, and then just adjust them as you need to based on what you've tried, what works and what doesn't work. Experimentation is key here. Learning and development wise, there might be just different tools or things that you need to invest in, skills, techniques that you need to learn to help you with productivity, books and such that might be helpful. Yeah, so just keep up to date with some of those just opportunities to keep learning. And then create an action plan, right? Having something documented definitely helps you kind of stay focused, right? So document what are those income generating activities. Like I said, maybe you have a checklist, maybe you have a Miro board, whatever, and using all these tools and systems to really help you stay accountable. Working on your mindset as well to really emphasize the importance of shifting from being busy to actually being productive. And if anything, I also love the idea of having an accountability partner, body doubling, to make sure that you can get the most important things done. All right. Well, that's what I got for you today. Thank you so much for listening. I'd now like to open this up with collective conversation to see what tips you all have. What are some of the things that have worked for you? What are some of the things that you're challenged by when it comes to, really prioritizing those sales activities? Are you also overdoing the content creation? And maybe we can help you all out. And while I'm waiting for folks to join me, if you would like to learn how to use the various LinkedIn tools and features to really generate more leads and sales, I'm hosting a workshop next week on Tuesday, August 6th at 10 a.m. PST, called LinkedIn Launchpad. We're going to be able to deep dive into what tools work best for you and your style so that you can really manage your time well between content creation and conversation and connection with your potential clients. So if you really want to join me for that workshop, I would love to have you there. Just DM me for the link.